Let us continue with this merciless, very important crusade against these worthless mutants and their enabling owners. Real quick, just wanted to go over this ridiculous article. It's not so much that the article is ridiculous. It is the reality that surrounds this article. Very short article. It is titled, "How Does a Dog Attack Change Your Life?" It says when a dog bites or attacks you, there is an immediate reaction of surprise and shock. Now let me stop right there. There should not be any amount of surprise or shock. If there is, that means that someone has been miseducated. And that is an issue of parenting, of teaching, right? And it starts with this lie that adults pass to children. You know, they tell the child, come pet it. It's okay. It won't bite. Where they try to encourage kids to overcome their natural fear of dogs. I would argue that all kids initially have a natural fear of dogs. And it is the adults who work diligently to remove this fear. It is a protective instinct in the human species to fear carnivores, creatures with long teeth and unusual, odd behavior, such as dogs, which have mutant, retard behavior. No offense to anyone out there who suffers from mental retardation, but I need to point out that these creatures have an impaired mental capacity even for animals because they are actually mutants. Now, there is a list in this article. It says, following a dog attack, there are a whole set of reactions that can suddenly seem to be at the center of your life, including fear of animals, especially dogs. Now let's stop there. Of course, this is the same fear that the adults try to condition out of the child. And now that reality has set in, now that you see this mutant is actually dangerous, that natural fear comes back. Now, a lot of dog lovers want to project the idea that there's something wrong with you if you have this fear. No, there is something wrong with them for pretending that there is nothing to fear in the presence of dogs. This is a very common tactic. It's like law or culture for dog lovers. You have to ignore the obvious danger that dogs present to humans, especially to children. So, of course, you have fear of animals, especially dogs, as you should, because the fact is, dogs should not be in the home. They should not be on the property. They should not be in the neighborhood. They should not be in human territory at all. Next, it says nightmares, which may or may not involve the attack and may also repeat. Now, this is a problem because this is one of the things that you should try to avoid at all costs. This is an example of the child being traumatized, right? And you should avoid this at all costs. The only way to avoid this is to not own a dog at all. Do not take the chance of your child being traumatized, having nightmares, right? Nobody should be subjected to such an experience. And you never know when these nightmares will end. Next, change of appetite and gain or loss of weight. Again, this is part of the trauma. Next, difficulty sleeping. Obviously, if you're having nightmares, you will have difficulty sleeping. And I assume they also mean that you will have trouble falling asleep. Next, speech deficits, such as stuttering, right? This is real lifelong trauma. Why would you take the chance of putting any child through this, knowing that it could last throughout the entire duration of this child's life? How could the presence of dogs possibly be more important than protecting the child from this type of experience, from this level of trauma, right? Several types of trauma. How could the presence of dogs possibly be that important, more important than protecting them from this type of experience? Other fears or phobias, such as fear of going outside or meeting people. Of course, fear of going outside. Why? Because the adults have not created a safe environment for the children. This is a violation of humanity, in my opinion. This is a crime against humanity, in my opinion, because it is the responsibility of all adults, animals in general, not just humans. They all create the safest environment possible for their young. Birds don't make a bird's nest on the ground. It is high up in a tree, on a branch. Lions do not allow other carnivores in their territory. If they see you, they will kill you. Primarily in defense of the existence of their cubs. The same is true for all other animals, except for humans. There is no reason, especially seeing that humans are the most intelligent of all living beings on this planet. There is no reason for our young to be afraid to go outside. That is the failure of the adults. And it is a very irresponsible. There is no excuse for this type of failure. So, as I've talked about several times on this channel, this has to stop. It is our responsibility to create the safest environment possible for our youth. If you can't do anything else as a parent, you may not be a lawyer or doctor. You may not be a rich person or live in the suburbs. The very least thing you can do is create a safe environment for your children. But dog lovers even fail at that by bringing these deadly mutants into the home, into the community. There's no excuse for it. It is always an act of taking a chance. It is always an act of treating the dog as if it's more important than your child. Because if you bring the dog into the home, you have to decide that the dog's presence is more important than the protection of your child. Because if there's going to be an attack, you know the child is not going to mutilate the dog. It will only be the dog that mutilates the child, and you're willing to take that chance. That's why I say dog owners do not love. They do not truly love their children. No way. If they did, there is no way they would take the chance on that happening. Next, changes in your personality. Of course, right? You've been lied to all these years. People have been telling you that dogs are the most loving creatures, that it loves you. It would never harm you. The dog has known you since you were a baby, right? Now you're traumatized. Now you have to develop a new perspective of reality. You have to view the world differently and everyone in it, because you realize that everyone has been lying to you. Nobody pulled you aside and said, you know what, these things are actually dangerous. Right? Your parents taught you or miseducated you, and nobody attempted to correct the wrong. So this is another part of the trauma. Next, outbursts of anger, sadness, or crying for no apparent reason. I would argue that these outbursts of anger, sadness, or crying is the feeling of being unprotected by those whose responsibility it is to protect you. As a child, it is a very lonely and terrible feeling when you are unprotected by your parents. If your parents won't protect you, who will? And there's this feeling that they don't even have an understanding of what is dangerous. Don't have an understanding of what type of environment is or is not safe. How could they, if they allowed a creature that is capable of mauling you into the home? And they've projected this creature as another child, as if it is just as harmless as you are. Kids truly are harmless. Dogs are not. That's why I believe it's very insulting to humanity to say that dogs are no different from kids. It really is an insult to anyone's intelligence, or whatever amount of intelligence you should have. It says, after the attack, friends and family will want to show their compassion. While you are recovering from the injuries, this will not only be comforting, but also necessary. People will treat you as special, and you should take the generosity as an aid to help you through the recovery period. As time goes by, if there are physical scars or you have trouble controlling your feelings, there may be some people who stare at you or even make fun of you. People who do not know you may make judgments about your appearance or behavior, not knowing the reasons or events of the dog attack. Now, there is no reason, like I said before, for anyone to go through this, but this is even worse because this follows a pattern that you see in every report of a dog attack, and that is a failure to discuss preventative measures. There is never a discussion about how attacks like this can be prevented in the future. And the reason there is no discussion is because people are so obsessed with dogs, and they will not dare entertain a conversation that involves the removal of dogs from the home or from the society itself. The truth is, they don't care how many kids get attacked. They will never even entertain the discussion of making dogs illegal to own. And that is outright madness. It is outright criminal. According to this same website, there are about 2,400 dog attacks every day. 100 dog attacks every hour, or one dog attack every 36 seconds. Those statistics are jarring. Those are staggering statistics. And of course, it also points out, as I point out always on these videos, more than 50% of all dog bite victims are children. Like I've always said, this is something that no other animal species on this planet tolerates. It is only humans, who are supposed to be the most intelligent, who displays the most unintelligent behavior. Even worse than that, they have no shame about it. Are we really the most intelligent species? In this regard, I can't tell. It seems to me like we are the dumbest animal species on this planet. You will never see 60% of deer raising puppies. Humans are the only animal species that raise the young of other animal species, as if they would raise their own. Right? They view dogs as a substitute for kids. No different from kids. Exactly the same. Many of them say that they love their dogs more than they love their kids. There are several reports online. I read a few yesterday where these women say they love their dog more than their newborn infant. Think about that. No other animal species is like that. All other animal species, bears, lions, they love their young more than anything else in the world. And they will do everything in their power to keep them safe. It is only humans who do the exact opposite. They do everything in their power to endanger their young. They bring mutant carnivores into the home, bring their newborn babies home to these creatures, these brainless mutants. Dogs, I have to remind people, are not natural animals. They are mutants. They mutated from wolves. As I pointed out before, when you deal with a mutation, you're going to have a mutation of the mind. And that will result in a mutation of the behavior of the organism. And that is why dogs will snap. It's more than just animal or predator instinct. Any and everything will set a dog off. That is because they are mutants. You don't have this case with other animals because other animals are natural animals. But with dogs, they hear fireworks. They respond by attacking someone. They're startled. They respond to being startled by attacking someone who had nothing to do with them being startled. I'm not going to make an excuse for that type of behavior simply because it's a dog. I expect better behavior than that, even from animals. What if it is their own young? You don't see dogs being startled and then respond to it by mauling their own puppies. Or maybe you do. Because they are that dumb. I would not put anything past them. They are far too dumb to have around our youth. So I just wanted to go over this. I know it's been a while since I made a video. Every now and then I need a break. This is a very stressful channel for me. I have other channels. Very stressful channel. I feel like I'm all alone sometimes. I have seen hundreds of mutilated children and hundreds more parents who don't care, who care about the dog more than those mutilated children. And this creates a very bizarre reality for me. And every now and then I need to take a break. But rest assured, this channel will not go anywhere. I know the YouTube rules very well. I will always follow the guidelines in order to keep this channel up and running. There is no escape. All you dog lovers, you can report this channel all you want. All you want. You will have to deal with opposing views when you come here. And there are more people creating these types of videos. And they are very important, people. Very important. You know, and I hope that many of you who leave very thought-provoking, very thoughtful comments, that someday you too will create videos, because we need as many people as possible to create these videos. People, this is out of hand. You have these protests and marches right now over unarmed citizens being shot by cops. I'm telling you now, there are far more helpless kids being attacked by dogs. But yet there are no protests. There's no outrage. Even though these kids are being attacked on a daily basis on a level you just don't see with unarmed people being shot by cops. It is appalling. And my job here is to bring awareness to it and hopefully create a new movement, right? Kids' lives matter. How about that? How about that? You know, a lot of you look at kids as some sort of different species. No, we all used to be kids ourselves. And I cannot imagine how kids who have been mauled feel the fear, the feeling of being unloved by your parents. Because it has to dawn on these kids that their parents have not done everything that they could possibly do to keep them safe. It has to dawn on these kids that their parents viewed the dog as more important than themselves. This is also important, these channels, these videos, because there are several pre-teens who watch my videos. And I know that there are kids, not only do they say it in the comment section, sometimes I go to their channel and they have uploaded videos themselves. And nobody is talking to them the way I'm talking to them. Nobody is being real with them. And there's no excuse for that. They should not need some random person on YouTube to tell them the truth. Very disgusting story reported a few days ago. This boy jumped in between a dog and his sister, and the dog attacked him. And as always, they do not discuss how to prevent this from happening in the future. Instead, what do they talk about? How much of a hero he is. That is what they always do. That is a distraction tactic. They want to distract you from focusing on the dog. They want to distract you from having discussions about how to prevent this from happening in the future, because they know a discussion like that would involve talking about the removal of dogs from our society. And they will dare not ever have a discussion like that. Not for no kids, not for nobody. In their mind, dogs are the most important creatures on this planet. And that is disgusting to me. The parents of this child reached out to the Avengers, right? This boy is a fan of the Avengers. And she reached out to them, hoping to get this boy cast in a series or a show or something, make an appearance on the Avengers. They want the boy to feel proud. And it is all a distraction, a disgusting, irresponsible tactic to avoid dealing with the dogs themselves, to avoid discussions about prevention. Another story. They want to project the surgeon as the hero. I've talked about this. If it's not the surgeon who is projected as a hero, it's the nurse. It is somebody on the scene, the police officer, an aunt, an uncle, a stranger, anybody who helped save the child. Oh, who did it? Who helped? Hero, hero, hero. Don't pay any attention to the dog. Don't pay any attention to the situation. Don't talk about how we can prevent this from happening in the future, because that would involve talking about removing the dog from society. We will not dare entertain such a discussion. Folks, that is more disgusting to me than unarmed citizens being shot by cops. In most cases, the unarmed citizen contributed to some degree to the shooting. They got violent with the cop, injured the cop, started fighting with the cop, being belligerent, refusing to cooperate. But in the case of dogs attacking our youth, these kids have done nothing. Nothing. You bring this up, the first thing they want to say is that, oh, it's probably the kid's fault. They probably pulled the dog's ear or some crap like that, which is an outright lie. These mutts usually attack them for no reason at all. We've seen examples on film. Just here recently, we saw two. This mutt not only ran out of nowhere and attacked this girl for no reason, this dog actually faced her first. Child had her back to the dog. The dog did not want to attack the child from the back. It walked around the child and faced the child, then attacked her. And you had that other mutt in the parking lot, ran up and attacked that girl for absolutely no reason. And again, if a child pulls on a dog's ear or tail or does something to a dog, again, that is not the child's fault. That is your fault. Because that is what kids do. That is how we as humans explore our surroundings. We touch, we grab. You put your finger up to an infant, it squeezes. Our hands is what we use to explore our surroundings. So it is your responsibility to create the safest surrounding possible for that to take place. And if you decide to bring a brainless, ugly, stinking, violent, bloodthirsty predator into the home, you cannot blame that child for anything.